We are an IP backbone and data center provider. This is going to be a quick, short presentation about misuse of top ASNs. This is a quick study which we did sometimes back last year based on appearance of AS1, AS2, and AS3 in the routing table. These are top ASNs, and they appear in routing table quite a few times when we don't expect them to. So it was quite interesting to see what's really happening behind them. So before going further into the study, let's have a look at who these ASNs belong to. So we have AS1, which is with level 3 communications, probably the only transit provider in the list. AS2 and 3 are with universities, University of Delaware, and AS3 with MIT. So based on this fact, we can judge that AS2 and AS3 should not really appear in a random Asian or European location because they are not a transit provider. And if they are appearing, there's something wrong going on in the routing. So how are they misused? Well, there are two common cases. One is that a lot of vendors have documentation which says just use 1, 2, or 3 for doing prepend, and that results in a lot of people just copy-pasting 1, 2, and 3 in the configuration. And this results in a scenario where you have 1, 2, or 3 appearing in the AS path. Or the other case where someone is typing out a long prepend, although it's bad to do long prepend, it doesn't really help. But a lot of people do long prepends, and that results in them by mistakenly typing 1, 2, or 3 in the AS path, and that again brings these ASNs up. So our study was to find how many times these ASN appeared, and speculating the reasons and the regions around there. So before going into the data, some quick points on the impact of impact of misuse. So one of the key things which happens because of use of AS1, 2, and 3 is that they appear in tools like bgp.he.net or stat.ripe.net with unexpected relationships. So you'll see very strange peers of AS1, 2, or 3, or even most of top ASNs, because a lot of people are actually not peering, but just use them. It can be considered as an AS hijack because you are not supposed to have, and if you are having these, it's just bad. It can also result in getting an announcement getting filtered by upstream or further, up somewhere near around some exchange point or anywhere on the internet, and it can also result in chances of broken connectivity due to BGP loop prevention. So BGP prevents the learning of your own ASN when you are pairing with an external network. So assuming if AS1, 2, and 3 routers don't have a default route, there can be a very well chance that the connectivity would be broken with your network for these prefixes because they'll just filter those prefixes out. So it's just bad. This is a graph of AS1. You can see a lot of strange ASNs coming from the different countries. I'll get to the peer list. So here, first level 3 communications probably makes sense because they're on it, so it would be probably they lease it, so it's with a couple of providers. Then there's one Russian network. Then there are a couple of networks from Romania, and this is what we saw last year. I just checked the list again. It seems slightly different. Now there are quite a few American networks which are visible with this kind of pattern. So how we hunted for the leakers of these top ASNs? The idea was to go into the routing table from RIS collectors. We use RIS collectors as well as some of the data from Oregon dumps. And we looked out for this data from 2010 till 2015. The study was done in 2015 August, so the data is still August. And the specific criteria we looked out for to see where AS1, 2, or 3 is appearing with the prepends, because this was the most common pattern. And we just focus on these ASNs. I'm quite sure the pattern does exist with the other ASNs as well, like AS4, 5, 6, up to few of the top ASNs. But with 1, 2, and 3, it was significant. So we just stuck the study with there. We did not went further with the other ASNs. And Another assumption was that, as I already said, AS1 only belongs to a transit provider. All two other ASNs are with the university. So it doesn't make sense to be appearing as a transit ASN for any random network on the other side of globe. The last part was that we did not, collect any leak for less than 24 hours. There were a lot of leaks beyond 24 hours, so we focused on them to reduce the data set for this kind of research. Here's the distribution and appearance. AS1 appeared for a really long time, AS2 for really short, AS3 for much more. This is a strange pattern that 2 was really low while 1 and 3 were pretty high. In case of IPv6, the pattern was very less visible. Actually, that's a good thing, but yeah, that also tells that since a lot of networks have not deployed V6, so or do not actively use V6 as much as they do V4, so pattern can be guessed. And here's a list of some of the people who leaked AS1. So we have mentioned the AS number here. You can see AS5927, or there for 134 days. Softening up. One of the longest one was this AS26114 for almost 771 days. We actually saw a couple of other ASNs which were even longer than that, almost 4 years. I'll get to that very soon. Some of who leaks AS2. So this kind of pattern is visible for a very long time. It's just not a mistake done temporarily one time. It's just visible for a really long time. And then we have AS3, which was also visible for a really long time. There are a few cases where it was visible just for 2 or 3 days, and we did note in them just to have an idea on how it's going on. This is the visibility of leaks. So AS23383, this is the one where we saw the leak visible for a really long time. It was there for almost like 4 years, and we have put some of the sample AS paths. You can see AS65430 private ASN in the path, which shows probably a broken configuration or just missing removed private AS somewhere, and possibly another prepend from someone. Yeah. This was the most amusing AS path we ever saw while doing this research. This includes all AS1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All within one single AS path. This single leak was good enough to show relationship between 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, even when it doesn't really exist.
How long did it live?
I think it was there for a few days. Yeah, it wasn't for a year or so, but at least for a few days. A good idea. I should have pointed it out here. So coming on preventing such leaks. If prepending is needed, it's just the basic thing. Prepend your own ASN. Do not really use anyone else's ASN, especially 1, 2, or 3, else you are going to come up in this slide. Avoid typing ASNs by hand. I think a lot of people do long prepend, although I would say it's just a bad idea to do long prepends, but even if you're going to do not type it by hand, just copy paste, it's better. As a lot of people just put wrong ASNs. We saw a lot of other strange ASNs, not just 1, 2, or 3. Like if someone is having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they tend to write 1, 2, 3, 4 within the AS path when they're prepending multiple times. And read your vendor's documentation on how to prepend. Some of the routers do actually ask you to put 1, 2, and 3, and they really prepend it like 2 or 3 times, while some of the vendors just expect you to type ASNs a couple of times. Well, sample config. I don't think it would be much relevant over here. It's a slightly old presentation, but yeah, just as it says in the route map, just use your own ASN. Don't use anyone else's ASN. Similar thing in case of V6, and in JunOS, in the export policy, just use your own ASNs. Don't type anyone else. That's it.
Коллеги, какие-нибудь вопросы? Вопросы к докладчику? Ну, тогда следующий доклад у нас. Вопрос.
Konstantin Fedorov.
That announced all 3 ISS1, 2, and 3 all at once.
Not really, except the case of that amusing ES path.
Alexander Lemin, Curator Labs. First of all, thank you for creating and operating this wonderful tool, bgphe.net. Second, I'd really love to see your leaks data for AS1 in compared with our leakage detection data. And last but not the least, that's the problem of BGP implementation as it is. Humans will get creative. When you allow this room for creativity, humans will get creative. It's human nature. So we will see more stupid things done. Actually, every single thing that allowed by a vendor, stupid thing allowed by a vendor, will be done by a human. So vendors don't do that. Thank you.
Can you repeat your second question? Your voice was not loud enough. Can you just repeat it?
Question was, I'd really love to see your original leak data with timestamps for AS1 to compare with what we have.
Sure, I have
That
that
would be
audio.
interesting.
I can hear
Thank
all.
you.
Так, спасибо за вопросы. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the questions and for your presentation.